The Thai Ministry of Health has announced the Wednesday tally for new COVID cases in Thailand. We've got 18 new COVID-related deaths and 1,911 new infections in the past 24 hours. Details on this, along with today's top stories, coming right up. Sawasdee krub, you're watching Thailand News Today, bringing you the latest top stories in the kingdom. A shout out to Sam Olsen, our new Thaiger legend. Now you can be one too by hitting the join button to support the channel. Now for our first story, Thailand's Food and Drug Administration has denied that the Pfizer Covid-19 vaccine is already in Thailand and available for the exclusive use for a chosen few. The FDA was responding to a claim made by former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, who says the vaccine is available for emergency use to inoculate, quote, a certain group. Thaksin made the claim online using the Clubhouse app. The FDA has confirmed that the U.S. manufacturer has yet to register its vaccine, pointing out that anyone seeking to import a vaccine needed to clear it with the FDA first. He says Pfizer has been approved to import its vaccine, but has not sought an emergency use license at this stage. The FDA usually takes around 30 days to issue such a license. The FDA said, quote, "We have not yet received any request from the company for a license, but hopefully it will happen shortly. Therefore, it is impossible to find the Pfizer vaccine in Thailand. We have already checked, just in case, and not found any." So the claim is false, according to them. Now, for their part, Pfizer said, "We want to certify that the company has no policy of selling the vaccine through any private agent. Until now, we have never imported the COVID-19 vaccine through our office in Thailand." Now, related to that, the CCSA has announced just today that they will include foreigners in the next round of vaccinations starting in June, and that they intend to include all foreigners living in Thailand in their vaccination rollout, which will extend until the end of the year. More information about this new report at thethaiger.com. Mass vaccination will be key in stopping the slump in economic growth, so claimed the Bank of Thailand after revising their 2021 GDP forecast to just 1 to 2%. They had previously estimated a 3% growth in the gross domestic product, but are now creating tiered predictions of a base level, worst situation, and a worst case scenario. The base case GDP forecast expects a 2% growth predicted on some rosy numbers, like foreign tourism growing to 1.2 million people and unemployment staying around 2.7 million. It also operates on the assumption that Thailand reaches 100 million vaccines distributed by the end of the year. Now, the middle ground prediction is a 1.5% GDP growth if 64.6 million vaccines are administered, delaying herd immunity to the third quarter of 2022. It also allows for unemployment to grow by another 100,000 people and tourism to reach only 1 million foreign visitors. Now, the worst case scenario would be a 5.7 drop in the GDP this year. The Thai government has ambitious plans to turn the kingdom into a Southeast Asian hub for the manufacture of electric vehicles. I've lost track of how many hubs we have. Big companies in Thailand are preparing to invest substantially in the greener mode of transport after the National Electric Vehicle Policy Committee suggested a new manufacturing target could mean half of Thailand's auto production is made up of electric vehicles by 2030. The message to car manufacturers and energy suppliers is to seize this opportunity to invest in the necessary infrastructure to support electric vehicles, as the number of drivers using such cars is expected to rise dramatically. The Thailand Board of Investment says that between 2017 and 19, investment in EV production and its infrastructure reached 79 billion baht. That figure is expected to rise at a much quicker rate over the next 3 years. The Thai Hotels Association is urging the government to extend the domestic travel stimulus schemes set to end on September the 30th. The THA president says the stimulus packages We Travel Together, which subsidizes flights and hotel accommodations, and the Tour Teo Thai co-payment scheme must be continued until the current crisis is under control. She points out that despite no official national lockdown, Thais are reluctant to travel, which is having a devastating impact on the hotel industry. A recent survey found that nearly half of the Thai hotels only have enough liquidity to keep going for 3 months or less. The THA and the Thai Chamber of Commerce have also proposed a monthly salary co-payment plan, but there's been no response from the government on that matter. Just the thought of 14 days in isolation has driven away many prospective tourists. Imagine 21 days. If you want to travel to Vietnam, you'll now have to go through 3 weeks of quarantines when you enter the country. The country of 96 million people has kept cases low at just 3,000 confirmed infections and 35 COVID-related deaths since the start of the pandemic last year. The move to extend the mandatory quarantine period from 14 days to 21 days comes after Vietnamese health officials reported some positive COVID cases that were detected after the patients had completed the 14-day quarantine. National Hospital for Tropical Diseases in Hanoi, a top hospital in Vietnam that has treated many COVID patients, went into lockdown after a doctor and later 14 others tested positive for the coronavirus. The health minister then made the announcement to extend the quarantine period. Police have arrested 12 people found eating, drinking, and gambling in a restaurant in the central province of Pathum Thani. Under disease prevention measures, there is currently a ban on in-restaurant dining in a number of provinces in Thailand. Authorities raided the restaurant last night. Officers from Pathum Thani police arrived at the Ot Alam Luka restaurant around 11:30 p.m. 12 patients were taken into custody and 15 sets of dice, gambling paraphernalia, and 3,500 baht in cash were confiscated from the table they were sitting at. Officers also found bills for food and drinks. All 12 arrested were taken to the local police station for processing. Better bring your umbrellas as the Thai Meteorological Department is warning of thunderstorms around the country, particularly in the northern and northeastern regions of Thailand, until the end of tomorrow. Thunderstorms with gusty winds and hail are also forecast in northern and northeastern Thailand as a high-pressure system from China has extended to Upper Thailand and the South China Sea. Isolated heavy rains are also possible in the area. The southeasterly and easterly wind also prevails across the Gulf of Thailand, the South, and the Andaman Sea coastline. Isolated heavy rains are expected throughout the week, with heavy to very heavy rainfall in some areas. That's all for this program, but there are plenty of news articles on the Thaiger.com or our Thaiger mobile app. We also have a daily newsletter as well. Details for all of this in the description of this video. Thank you for watching, and you're now up to date on the Thaiger. Sawadee krap.